opportunity to speak. And I believe we have about 20 speakers signed up for this evening. In fairness to all persons and to expedite the meeting, it is requested that repetitive comments on the same issue not be given. If someone before you has presented very similar testimony, you may simply comment that your concerns have been previously raised and waive your time. So before we begin, Councilman Quirk, would you like to have opening remarks?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to recognize several of my staff members who are here virtually with us. Brian Morris, who you can't see, and Margaret Stokes and Kathy Angers. Brian Morris represents council office more in the southern part of the district, including places like Lansdowne and Arbutus and Hillthorpe. Kathy Angers represents the central part of our council district, including areas such as Catonsville. And Margaret Stokes represents the northern part of the district, including places such as Dogwood or Chadwick or Woodlawn, Westview. And so I did want to thank Brian and Margaret and Kathy for being here as well. They'll be taking notes, and any public comments we will record and also put in our CZMP files. And wanted to also thank everybody who's taken the time out of their busy days to talk about the different issues that are important to you. And we do really greatly appreciate your time. We're here to listen. And thank you all for joining us virtually. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Quirk. Ms. Belcastro, who is our first speaker this evening?
Our first speaker is Rick Severo. Mr. Severo?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you may begin your testimony.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone for their time today. My name is Rick Severo. I'm the current president of Rolling Road Golf Club. Talking about zoning issue 01-033. I would like to present to the council the position of Rolling Road as it pertains to the proposed relocation of our club to the property known to many as the Horse Farm on Frederick Road. With the negative publicity from the local community, the negative impact on our zoning with Councilman Quirk's impending downzoning request, the COVID-19 disruption to our community, and the current owner of the Horse Farm lease needing to sell her lease immediately, we will not be moving forward with the relocation. We have informed our developer from Rivera of our decision as we anticipate to celebrate another 100 years at our current location. We are requesting our zoning remain as its current zoning for the fact that this downzoning can cause financial distress to our continued existence. Our debt is supported through our land value, and downzoning will jeopardize these commitments. So thank you all for your time and your consideration. All the best.
Thank you for your testimony this evening, sir.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Ross Mark. Mr. Mark, are you there? Mr. Mark?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You may begin your testimony.
Okay, great. Good evening, council members and everyone else listening. Like I said, my name is Ross Mark. I live at 38 Melrose Avenue, and I am speaking in opposition to issue 1-021. I represent the Central Catonsville Neighborhood Association and my neighbors who are affected by this proposed zoning change. We also have support from the Old Catonsville Neighborhood Association, the Catonsville Community Conservation Association, and Pat Baldwin, owner of 818 Market. I respectfully request that you do not approve this zoning change. Zoning issue 1-021 proposes that my property and that of 3 of my neighbors gets rezoned from RO to BL. During a community meeting, we were told by the leader of the Catonsville Parking Committee who proposed it, Mr. Don Moeller, that this change was needed to alleviate parking concerns. Mr. Moeller asked several times for a specific, we asked him several times for a specific justification or a master plan or any kind of plan regarding the rezoning of our properties. He stated that because other properties are being rezoned at the other end as part of 1-022, that the parking committee created 1-021 out of fairness and to maintain consistency. This proposed action seems much more like spot zoning than a rational plan for expansion. In the initial neighborhood meeting during the first CZMP meeting, and in conversations with other neighbors, Mr. Mullers provided no justification for how rezoning our 4 houses who are owned by people who didn't ask for the change, nor were we consulted about it prior, would help alleviate this supposed parking shortage. It doesn't sound fair to me at all. In fact, no master plan at all has been provided for parking expansion or business expansion onto our properties. There's a parking lot on Melrose Avenue already that exists. It's owned by Booth Properties and it's already BL. Mr. Muller stated this lot is full every day, but unfortunately from me driving past it every day and my neighbor having a video feed of it, it's not true. At best, it's at 50% capacity during the weekday and almost empty at night when most people would be at the new restaurants and businesses and on weekends. The Catonsville Parking Committee hasn't adequately or reasonably studied the parking availability because they haven't presented those findings, and they think by rezoning our houses it'll help with parking, which doesn't make any sense. They haven't addressed our concerns regarding these changes. They haven't provided any research on the impacts it would have to our property value, resale opportunity, or taxation, which is very important to us as homeowners. Most importantly of all, they haven't provided any kind of plan with that request to rezone our houses, despite multiple requests. In addition, my neighbors and I truly appreciate Mr. Quirk's dedication and service to our community. I think he's a great leader for us. And I noticed that his page on the council website says that he's most proud of his work in zoning and development transparency. I hope that he, as well as the rest of the illustrious council, are able to see that this proposed zoning change is not transparent at all, despite multiple requests from neighbors and businesses to that liking. My neighbors and I are excited for the expansion and enrichment in Catonsville. If Catonsville leadership and the council allow this development of the business community at the cost of the people who are the community, I think it's gone too far, and that'd be extremely disappointing. For those reasons, I respectfully request that you do not approve that proposal. Thank you very much for your time, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you for your testimony, sir.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Steve Bieri.
Hello.
Mr. Bieri, you're here?
Yes.
Okay, you may begin your testimony. Are you there, sir? Oh, are you there, sir?
I'm here. Are you there?
Okay,
Yes.
go ahead.
Okay. My name's Steve Yampieri, and I own Jennings Cafe. I oppose the rezoning requests of 1-01, 1-022, and 1-023. As the owner of Jennings Cafe, I was directly affected in May of 2018 by the floodwater that left my business with water as high as 7 feet in my restaurant. The proposed zoning would have even more devastating effects on my property if successful. The zoning change that you were proposing would eliminate the RO buffer, and that would allow a BL intrusion in the residential neighborhood north of us. It's not included on any master plan for Catonsville and is not a logical expansion, densification of the Catonsville BL business corridor along the Frederick Road towards 695. The proposed BL properties are within a block of Frederick Road, Ingleside Avenue, a failed intersection with a half-a-mile traffic backups common at rush hour. Also, no left turn restrictions are on that same intersection. The existing properties have grown and been redeveloped, and with all the density, there has been no stormwater management added, no increased sewer capacity, and no improvements to the adjacent public roads. The standard city planning models show no public parking benefit to the Frederick Road corridor from parking north of Melrose because of the pedestrian travel distance exceeds 400 feet with no direct line of sight pedestrian routes. Plus, pedestrian travel is required side avenue or west to Eggs Lane. The BL parking lot proposed on the north side serves only the adjacent social services. Any public or parking use of Melrose should be established not by a zoning variance, by a zoning variance and not a zoning change. Manufacturing or other office buildings could ultimately be developed. This proposed zoning request will not solve our parking crisis or the infrastructure issues, only exacerbate our problems. In conclusion, while I see more need for parking, I firmly believe there are other options available besides zoning changes to meet our parking shortage. Spot rezoning, as it is being proposed, is not the answer to our current parking crisis or the aging infrastructure issues affecting downtown Catonsville. Therefore, I am respectfully opposed to the rezoning request as presented. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you for your testimony, sir. Next speaker, please.
Louis Kubayet or Kubayet.
Yes.
Are you on devices?
Yes, devices on one of them she has to turn off.
Yeah, if you're on two devices, you have to get on just by one device.
Okay. Okay. Better?
Like a Pink Floyd concert.
Something like that.
I'm not quite sure.
Okay, I'm only on one device.
That's very odd.
Turn your volume down.
Yes, try turning your volume down.
Okay. Is that any better?
No, it's not any better.
Okay.
Chris, I wonder if he could speak on his telephone, perhaps instead of the computer, if that would help.
Well, because I can't understand him because of the echo, if he could send an email to the county council of Baltimore
We're done.
and give me the phone number that he will be calling in from, and I should be able to find him in the list. So, Mr. If you could please send me an email with the phone number you will be calling in from, and then once I see that you're logged on, we can bring you up next. I have you muted right now, so just send me an email, and then I guess we'll, Councilman Quirk, we'll move on to the next.
Just that, we're just taking one day at a time, bud.
Okay.
All right.
Our next speaker,
Yeah, we can talk.
Dorothy Noble. Ms. Noble?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I am speaking on behalf of Old Catonsville Neighborhood Association, not on behalf of my own personal viewpoint. And sorry, I just drove back in from work. We are in favor of position 1-03.
Go ahead.
As we believe this proposal will allow the addition of retail or dining in the continued development of Main Street, Catonsville. We are also in favor of Councilman Quirk's position 1-031 for Main Street, Catonsville, as this zoning will enable the balance of arts and recreation to the already booming downtown Catonsville area. Both of these positions promote growth and vitality for the Southwest Baltimore County. Further along Frederick Road, OCNA is opposed to proposal 1-009, as this property is across the street from an elementary school and church daycare and is within a residential community and is at the crossroads of an extremely busy intersection in which young children cross and bicycle regularly. We believe the proposal could cause significant safety and traffic concerns and are really concerned about that. OCNA is also in support of 1-019 for the Relay Improvement Association, as it has been a very positive zoning change for the residents of OCNA, who also did that zoning change, I think about 10 years ago. So sorry I'm out of breath. I just came back from cleaning out the school building and ran upstairs to do this. So thank you for listening to us, and I appreciate it.
Thank you for your testimony this evening. Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Wanda Camper. Ms. Camper?
Yes, hi.
Hi. You begin
Hi.
your testimony.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, Council Chair Bevins, Councilman Kirk, and council members. My name is Wanda Camper. I have lived in the Chadwick community for 21 years at 2000 Greengage Road on the corner of Security Boulevard and Greengage. I strongly support issue number 117 in application with issue 135, which will be beneficial to the Johnny Cake communities in conjunction with the petition from the Greater Patapsco Community Association. I make it a point to attend community meetings before COVID-19 now on Zoom because the community's welfare is very important to me. Thank you for the opportunity to share how I feel about the zoning. I've seen the growth of sprawling industrial parks in the area, a federal building walking distance from my home, and a dying Security Square Mall that is sorely missed by the community. The planners of the new zoning have not only disappointed the community that I live in, but have forgotten about the quality of life in our community. This is evident by the recommendation of the Planning Board to embark on the urbanization of the tract of land on Johnny Cake near Park Trail commercial industrial park on the two-lane road south of Petco Park serves only the interests of the companies that will occupy the space there and do not meet the full or fulfill the needs of the existing community. Residential infrastructure does not support a massive increase of traffic, urbanization of our community, the toll on our surrounding schools, the hazardous health implications from pollution, and the effect on our home values. As well as littering of our beautiful community. Revitalization of the Security Square Mall, which is in disrepair, is detrimental to the community, and no one has come to the table to upgrade the mall. I sincerely hope the county officials do something that benefits the community and not always by big business by down zoning. Our community matters. I respectfully request, please come in our backyard and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for your testimony this evening.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
The next speaker is Thomas Schuler. Mr. Schuler?
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much, and good evening to all the council. My name is Thomas R. Schuler, and I've been a resident of 117 Ingleside Avenue for over 20 years, along with my wife Sharon. We respectfully request that the zoning issues 1-021 and 1-022 convert currently RO properties to a PL designation be rejected by the planning board. Subject properties are located at the extreme headwaters of the Patapsco River. After a storm, runoff from this area travels through Catonsville and down the Bull Branch for several miles before discharging to the Patapsco River. Runoff reaches the river in 2 hours or less, depending on rainfall. The pollutants and stormwater runoff are then delivered to the Chesapeake Bay a day later. Developed residential areas in the immediate vicinity of the properties are already exposed to a high risk of urban flash flooding. Multiple properties have suffered damages in recent years due to flood basements and backyard roadway flooding, especially after the construction of the existing Parkland Melrose Avenue in between 1-021 and 1-022. The area is especially vulnerable to flooding for 4 reasons. lack of modern urban gutter and storm drain pipes for much of the catchment, and ineffective regional detention pond north of Weston Avenue. Runoff produced from the BL parking lot built more than a decade ago over community objections. An ancient highly constricted set of culverts underneath Frederick Road that no longer pass floodwaters from extreme storm events. Adding multiple impervious surfaces to our neighborhood means that our historic flooding problems will only grow worse over time, with increased risk to our safety and our property. A comprehensive parking demand study is needed in our community, but we have to make sure that there's no future commercial development that disrupts our older, affordable residential neighborhood, which is composed of renters and people on fixed income in many generations. We applaud the new arts and entertainment district, the general redevelopment of Catonsville, the arrival of new restaurants. This new wave of development needs to be accompanied by a comprehensive plan to manage its stormwater and flooding impacts, and quite frankly, respect the boundaries of its older residential neighborhoods upon which its success ultimately depends. It would be inconceivable. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your testimony this evening. Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Don Moeller.
Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Madam Chair, members of the council, thank you. I'll try to be brief. About 18 months ago, County Executive Quirk and County Councilman Quirk and County Executive Olszewski asked if I would head up an ad hoc group of citizens and business owners in Catonsville to try to come up with potential solutions for parking issues that the Catonsville community was facing. As I said at an earlier planning board hearing, that's actually a good news situation because Catonsville's village area is indeed thriving. It is a very successful revitalization district, and it is now the state's first arts and entertainment district in the entire state. One of the primary solutions that this parking group came up with was to change the zoning in issues identified 1-021 and 1-022 along Melrose Avenue from RO to BO. That would allow, if necessary, and expedite the construction of additional parking for restaurant and retail operations that continue to thrive in Catonsville. Some of the more well-known recent additions to Catonsville is we know that longtime Fadley's restaurant is about to relocate there. The very successful State Farm Group is opening a Mexican restaurant across the street. They will also need additional parking. And in the very near future, the much anticipated 818 Market will be opening its doors. We think this is a very, very important change. It was supported by both the planning staff and the planning board. We think it makes sense. I would offer up that any parking operation or any parking lot that would be constructed along there to go along with the additional lot that's the lot that's already there that's owned BL would have to meet all environmental and development regulations. And I would just add, since this is a public hearing, that there has been some suggestion floated around the neighborhood. Someone called me yesterday to suggest that somehow I may have a financial interest in one of the major operations, one of the major shopping center developments in Catonsville. And I can assure the council and the public that neither I nor anyone in my family have any financial interest in this whatsoever. I was asked to do this as a volunteer, and the committee members were willing to speak, but rather than take your time, and we have 15 to 20 committee members that served and gave up their time volunteering for this effort, they've asked me to speak on their behalf to expedite your hearing. So very, very briefly, just simply ask you to support 1-021 and 1-022. It's always a pleasure to speak to the council. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Our next speaker, yes, is Timothy Potter. Mr. Potter?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, you may begin your testimony.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, Councilman Quirk and council members. My name is Timothy Potter. I'm in support of issue 1-012, the rezoning of properties at Hollands Ferry Road. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on this issue. I support this issue because I am a significant property owner in Lansdowne and Riverview communities. I believe the revitalization of the Hollands Ferry intersection would greatly enhance property values of all property owners in this area. The land proposed for rezoning, currently residential, is immediately adjacent to commercial property. Therefore, the highest and best use of these properties would be the proposed zoning code BL-AS. The newest townhouse development to the east on Hollands Ferry Road does not want to expand. Rezoning would bring new and improved businesses to Lansdowne and Riverview, adding value and convenience to all property owners and residents. Thank you for your time, Councilman.
Thank you for your testimony this evening. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Stephanie Andrews. Ms. Andrews?
Hello, can you hear me?
You also have an echo.
Is this better?
No. Did you turn your volume down?
Any better?
That is much better.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, County Council. My name is Stephanie Andrews, and I'm a proud resident of 21227. My family has been a part of the Lansdowne community for over 100 years. Keeping the tradition and vibrancy of this community is of paramount importance, which is why I'm in favor of the proposed rezoning. This community is made up of hardworking, dedicated people who deserve all the benefits of a thriving local economy. This is what the proposed rezoning and subsequent development would grant. The subject parcels are improved each with a residential dwelling that were constructed more than 100 years ago. Once considered the highest and best use of the land, these structures are now inconsistent with the improvements that have been made in recent years to the parcels to the east and to the west, and no longer fit that criteria. When considering the necessary infrastructure needed to support this zoning change, such as sewer, traffic, water, and stormwater management, there are no impacts or limitations that will prevent the zoning issue from converting to the BL-AS zoning. It is of my opinion that the highest and best use for this land is to rezone it to the BL-AS zoning and allow for a local business to expand and strengthen its position within the community. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony this evening. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is Muhammad Ali. One moment. Mr. Ali?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you may begin your testimony.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Muhammad Ali, and my testimony is for this CZMP issue number 1-004. I live at 1528 North Rolling Road in Catonsville, Maryland. I am a master taekwondo instructor. It is my passion to use my skill to help improve our community and provide skill and lessons to young people of our community. Should we change the approved, I plan to on holding 4 1-hour classes a day, starting at 3 p.m. till 8 p.m. for limited numbers of children ages 4 to 12. Twice weekly classes included learning how respect and discipline positively impact their lives. Teachers build character and confidence in their young minds. I could also offer self-defense classes from 10 to 12 a.m. Monday through Saturday. As you can see from the deed of covenant, my property is not a part of the Woodbridge Community Association, and yet a vast majority of that association supporters this change. I have made a great effort to talk to the entire community surrounding my property and beyond, and I have collected approximately 80 signatures in support of the school. 95% of those signatures are from residents in Woodbridge community. Note that the properties on Rolling Road and adjacent to other properties that are or could be BLR. Traffic will not be an issue as the number of the students is critically limited for community impact, classes, effectiveness, and health reasons. Furthermore, drop-off and pickup will only occur between 3 and 8 p.m. I have submitted supplemental information about my comprehensive credential with my written testimony. The property freedom from covenant is promiscuity to the school and other non-resident properties and overhauling community support. I very much hope you will approve this so that I can use my passion and skill to make our community a better place. Thank you, and God bless America.
Thank you for your testimony tonight, sir. Next speaker, please.
Madam Chair, I'm going to try Mr. Kubiet again to see if he has resolved his issue.
Okay.
Mr. Kubiet?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, there is no echo.
There you go. How about that? Yes, this is in reference to 1007. I am petitioning the council not to approve this request. This particular piece of property has, for the last 20 plus years, been subject to a non-compliant use as a construction storage yard. Since the last meeting, it has only increased in the amount of construction equipment and dumpsters and vehicles that are no longer tagged and that are being salvaged and pulled apart in this area. This backs up to the Rail to Trails and to the Catonsville Elementary School. So when you are on the playing fields from the elementary school, you're looking onto this property, and it is absolutely atrocious. It is basically a junkyard. And the petitioners are saying that there would be no major change if this would be approved. Well, we can't say whether that would or would not be a major change because we actually have no idea what they're proposing to do that. So my point is that with all of the improvements that have been made in this area recently, the Rails to Trails and the new elementary school, I'm asking the council to not approve this change. And
Thank you for your testimony, sir.
thank you for your time.
Speaker, please.
Herbert Burgunder?
Are you there, sir?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can start your testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Councilman Quirk, and members of the council. Herbert Burgunder, I'm the lawyer on behalf of Catonsville Mellor, which is the owner of this property, issue 1-007. The property, as you see on the screen, is actually the portion that my client owns is the right-hand portion of it, not the left-hand portion. That's another property owner. So the property to the right where the path is and the vehicles, that's the portion of the property that my client owns, where the 99 is and that path, the green, that was just flash green. My client intends to only correct the zoning so that the zoning of this portion of the property is consistent with the remainder of the property. And if we zoomed out a little bit, we would see the remainder of the property is the shops at Mellor, which includes a piece of pizza and other local establishments. My client owns that portion of the building, and the vehicles and equipment, including snowplows and other types of equipment, are used to support the rest of the property, which is business major, which includes going above Bloomingdale all the way to Frederick. So the portion of the property that we're seeking to rezone would be to extend southward the business major district so that it meets the end of the property to make that use consistent. Mr. Kubiet, who we've worked with in the neighborhood and has been an advocate for the neighborhood, is correct about the short rail line. My client donated that property to Baltimore County for the rails to trails, and so that portion of the property is not at issue. But what we're asking for is to just make consistent the business use of that southern portion of the property so that it is consistent with the rest of the property, which is business major. The property is too narrow to build anything, so there is no plans, and frankly, we couldn't build anything on the property. And the idea would be to make consistent that use, which is shown on the aerial of the property that extends further south from the business major, of which the rest of the property is presently zoned. We think it's a simple correction of the current zoning. Mr. Kubiet would also agree that the property at issue is further down. It's at a much lower grade than the rest of the property on Mellor Avenue. And yes, it can be seen by the school. And if there's any issue with the equipment that is being stored there for support of the property, we certainly would agree to put up fencing. What we're asking for is to make the property use consistent with the zoning. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kathleen Skolny. Ms. Skolny?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you may begin your testimony.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. My name is Kathleen Skolny. I live at 10813 Davis Avenue in Granite. I'm the zoning chair for the Greater Patapsco Community Association, which is the petitioner for issue 1-17, and we are including 1-35 as part of our testimony. I am joined by and joined with the Johnny Cake Road communities of Chadwick, Fairbrook, Parkview Crossing, Parkview Trail, and Stonegate. And just so you know, if we were all in person, you would see at least 25 of us all sitting together for this kind of hearing. We are here to say to you that our collective communities matter. The petition downzoning of issue 117 and applied to the contiguous parcel in issue 1-35 fully and harmoniously reestablishes the sustainable community residential capacity in the significant areas that lie between and impact both the Johnny Cake Road communities and the equally important environmental natural areas, including the Greater Patapsco area around them. The requested zoning also eliminates unwarranted diversion of significant business and commercial redevelopment away from the essential commercial revitalization of Security Mall and Woodlawn in the immediate areas to the east and already committed to by Baltimore County government. I urge you to look at the sources that we have submitted, including the Baltimore County Government Transition 2019 report, the Baltimore County Enterprise Strategic Plan 2019 to 2022, the Master Plan, the Woodlawn Commercial Revitalization District Plan, the Security Mall Revitalization and Opportunity Zones, the GPCA Community Plan, RC6 Zoning and Resource Protection, and the SWCC Watershed Protection Area. These are all cited in written testimony that we have submitted. And I might add that included in this now is the extension of the Patapsco Heritage Greenway before the County Council in resolution number 35-20. That particular area, it looks like will move up about a third of the way up Johnny Cake Road. These communities have had decades of promises with I'm sorry, is that a signal?
Yes, Ms. Skolny, your 3 minutes of time.
May I add my final statement?
Madam Chair?
You can finish your sentence.
Thank you very much. The 100 acres is clearly and obviously consistent with everything already on the books, and now is exactly the right time to make it real. Our communities matter. Thank you.
And thank you for your testimony this evening.
Our
next speaker.
Teresa Hanley. Ms. Hanley?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello, my name is Teresa Hanley. I am representing the Lansdowne Improvement Association, as Ernie Bailey, our president, was unable to attend. Generally, LIA opposes rezoning of any of the properties located at the intersection of Hammonds Ferry and Hollands Ferry Road, especially any rezoning which would lead to the expansion of Royal Farms from a single convenience store to a full-scale gasoline station. LIA is being joined in its opposition by the Riverview Community Association. We have updated written testimony today. The proposed zoning is not consistent with the Baltimore County Master Plan. Additionally, LIA has the following safety-related concerns to the proposed zoning. First, 3 gas stations in 1 intersection and 2 stations side by side heighten the risk to neighbors, surrounding properties, and the environment. Second, the vehicle and traffic movement as the proposed exit would result in an increase in vehicle accidents, both with other vehicles and existing property on both Hollands Ferry and Hammonds Ferry roads. Third, there are significant environmental concerns. The proposed Royal Farms expansion will increase non-permeable surfaces, resulting in increased storm water runoff flowing into local streams in the Patapsco River. Additionally, there would be flooding of the roadway during heavy rainfall, which is already a concern in the area. LA would also like to note that there's 6 other Royal Farms gasoline stations within a 1.2-mile radius of the Lansdowne community, in addition to the current convenience store location on Hollands Ferry Road. This is not a case of there being a need or a service that the community requires that is not being met. In conclusion, LIA's opinion is that the proposed Royal Farms expansion has too many associated safety risks to make it a viable, welcome development, and subsequently, LIA strongly opposes the granting of rezoning in issue 1-012. Moreover, it appears as if Royal Farms is content to put profits above the safety of our residents and the viability of current businesses. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony this evening. Next speaker, please.
Diana Bergman. Ms. Bergman?
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me? Hi, everybody. So I provided written testimony. I know last March I ended up asking for a ton of amendments. My big issue with Baltimore County as it changes and introduces their master plan for development is that our school system and how they develop and grow their schools is not included in the conversation. And I think that's important, especially at what we're looking at today. Councilman Tom Kirk, you've toured with me Lansdowne High School plenty of times, and you know that we don't have the blueprint for our classrooms to be large enough compared to other schools in our district. So with the new challenges that we see now with COVID and the state superintendent announcing that the first children returning back into the classroom are special education children, how are we supposed to do this in our schools that we know the blueprint of that classroom square footage is so tiny? Schools like Riverview Elementary, schools like Arbutus Elementary, Lansdowne High School, if we have to keep school year round, we know Lansdowne High School doesn't have the learning environment to keep our kids cool enough or even warm enough whenever our heater breaks down. So one of the big issues as we're having these conversations of kids reentering back, there's a very important person that I think is missing out of the conversation, and that is Dr. Branch and his expertise on how to safely screen our public, children, and families in our community as they participate and access public service from our county. So I want that to be considered moving forward, is what can we add with the new changes as we're being developed. Thank you.
I thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you for your testimony. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is Maureen Wingreen.
Can you hear me?
Are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Maureen Wingreen, and I live at 15 Fusting Avenue, directly behind 12 Melrose Avenue and issue 1-022, of which I am vehemently opposed. Melrose Avenue is a residential office buffer between large businesses on Frederick Road and the residential neighborhood on Fusting Avenue. Initially, 746 Associates obtained a special exception for the existing parking lot on Melrose. Then in 2004, the parking lot was rezoned BL against the Planning Board's recommendation, which is a classic example of spot zoning and part of 746 Associates' plan to get a foothold and position themselves to snap up and develop the entire street. We have spoken with the businesses Mr. Moeller cited in his statement and as in need of additional parking, and they have already fulfilled their parking requirements. Since building my home here in 2007, the existing parking lot on Melrose has sat largely empty. What the parking lot has contributed to our neighborhood is a place for illicit drug use, drug transactions, car sex, and teens driving around at high rates of speed doing burnouts. The owners of 17 Fusting Avenue next door were forced to install a fence at their own expense in an attempt to quell the never-ending stream of people trespassing on our properties, dropping trash, condoms, tampons, and drug needles. I challenge anyone from the County Council or Planning Board to stroll barefoot around the strip of trees partially separating the parking lot from Fusting Avenue. Additional parking and or businesses along Melrose will only exacerbate the situation and will detract from the homeowners' reasonable use and enjoyment of their property. Additionally, the attempt to have 4 properties rezoned, which 746 Associates has no ownership interest in, is unconscionable and predatory. I am requesting and expect that you will make the right decision in keeping 1-022 and 1-021 Melrose Avenue zoned residential office. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for taking the time to testify this evening. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Denise Moranto.
Thank you, council members. Thank you, council members, for this opportunity to speak. I am the secretary of the Greater Patapsco Community Association, speaking for them and for myself. I live at 3101 Rices Lane, Windsor Mill, Maryland, 21244. I am in favor of 117 and 135 because the proposed downzoning goes along with the residential character of the surrounding communities. The current zoning is inappropriate for environmental, infrastructure, and lack of need reasons. The area neighbors us in Granite Patapsco. The Johnny Cake and surrounding communities are our neighbors, and the environmental damage from needless future heavy development in that location, when added to the current environmental impact, would only contribute to the present overload on our air and water. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Next speaker, please. You're welcome. Next speaker, please.
Maureen Potter. Ms. Potter?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi. I'm speaking about case number 1-012, the rezoning of 2 properties on Hollands Ferry Road in Lansdowne. I feel that a new modernized Royal Farm store would greatly benefit the area. Therefore, I am in support of rezoning the 2 properties on Hollands Ferry Road in Lansdowne. The rezoning is necessary to complete the project of the Royal Farm store. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you for your testimony this evening. Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Carol Moorfield. Ms. Moorfield, are you there?
Yes, I am. Wait a minute. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
You may begin your testimony.
Okay. I'm Carol Moorfield. I live at 7916 Dogwood Road, which is directly down the hill from the properties at 1-017 and 1-035. I'm also a member of the board of directors of GPCA. We've had some wonderful testimony already today, and I don't intend to reiterate what the other speakers have said. I do want to point out that the planning department is against the downzoning of these properties because of the proposed extension of Security Boulevard. That proposal has been on the books for more than 50 years now. And during that period of time, these properties, most of that time, they were zoned RC. I don't see where downzoning them to a DR 3.5 is going to have a great effect on something that hasn't happened in 50 years. I don't need to add all the other things because Wanda Camper has already said it. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Next speaker, please.
The next speaker is Stephen Whalen. Mr. Whalen? Mr. Whalen? Mr. Whalen? He's not responding. Chairwoman, we can come back to him.
Yeah, go to the next speaker.
The next speaker is Dawn Stout. Ms. Ms. Stout?
Hello?
Hello, Ms. Stout?
Yeah.
Are you there? She keeps on. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, you may begin your testimony.
Sorry, we kept toggling back and forth between mute and unmute. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Thank you, everyone. Actually, would have been nice if Steve would have spoke first because I am calling in regards to 1005, and I'm calling in support of that. I'm a resident of Catonsville, and I'm also I'm on the corner of Hilltop and Valley Road, actually near the Rolling Road Golf Course, and I feel that this multi-use project will bring a nice variety of retail and entertainment and housing for the residents of Catonsville. I also feel that this project would provide a gateway. Being a UMBC employee as well, I feel that it would be a nice gateway from UMBC to the Catonsville Village eventually, if and when this project ever gets started and completed. I know it's been for years now that it's been going back and forth, but I feel that we could benefit, that Baltimore County could benefit from capturing the revenues from the over 14,000 students and 1,000 employees there at UMBC. And then also, on a personal note, I tend to spend my money in instead of going to Baltimore County stores, I tend to go to Anne Arundel and Howard counties And I feel that this would provide convenient and safe shopping options. And regarding the traffic, I know there's been a lot of opposition because people feel that that would increase traffic. I, on the other hand, feel that that wouldn't be a factor since there would be easy access right off of 695 and Wilkins Avenue and Frederick Roads. In fact, I believe that it would actually help alleviate the typical rush hour congestion throughout the residential sections of Catonsville because residents may stop to shop on their way home from work, thereby reducing the congestion of everyone trying to travel home at the same time. So anyway, I do appreciate the time, and I'm in support of 1005. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony this evening. Next speaker, please.
Our final speaker again is Stephen Whalen, and I'm going to try him again.
Okay.
Mr. Whalen? Mr. Whalen, are you there? I'm not sure if he's having technical difficulties, but he is unmuted. Mr. Whalen?
Steve Whalen, are you there? Mr. Whalen, are you there? Okay. I think he either hung up or is just not available right now. We can always tell Mr. Whalen he can submit anything in writing to Councilman Quirk, whether it's in opposition or support of the issue raised. Okay, so was Mr. Whalen our last speaker?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, so I guess this concludes this evening's public hearing for Councilmanic District 1 CGMP. Thanks to all the listeners and folks that called in to testify. This is a very important process that we go through, so thank you for that. And thank you to all my colleagues. Thank you, Councilman Quirk. You have your district is an awesome district, we all know. And Mr. Secretary, Mr. Bostwick, would you like to inform us of any upcoming meetings?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. The next CZMP hearing will be on Tuesday, June 16th for District 2. That will convene again in the same fashion and using the same format and registration as all the others at 4 p.m. The hearing. Thank you, Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. I wish everybody a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Thank you.